Mabuhay Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. It's been a couple of weeks, and I wanted to have a much different topic here today on this live stream, the second live stream I've done since we got started, resuming live streams a couple of weeks ago. So here in Nebraska, it's absolutely gorgeous Friday after it's evening now, 6:02, and it's been hitting close to 50. There's a couple days it's going to be in the next 8 or 9 days close to 60 degrees here. That means I've got to get out and go for a walk. I wanted to today, but was just kind of exhausted. And after a 3 hour nap, I'm ready to do this today. So normally here on Love Beyond the Sea, and we talk about relationships, marriage to a Filipina, and this is a relationship topic. What I'm going to talk about today, let's see if I can even see my topic on this screen, and I can't. But what we're going to talk about is a phenomenon that I continue to see here called, well, it's gray hair. It's younger women coloring their hair gray. There's another phenomenon that just apparently is new, and that's painting on eye bags. Then there's, I wanted to go over some comments from a woman who decided that she's not going to do anything with her mustache and her eyebrows. And well, I thought that was kind of interesting. And then I also, fresh off the press, is the Rudy Giuliani comments about Michelle Wie West about what she was wearing when she was putting. Now I just heard of that, and I continue, to see articles on that. So I assume that happened recently. But today I want to hear your thoughts about, are women, why are they intentionally trying to not look attractive to men? Do they, just think it's funny? They don't take it seriously? Is there something more insidious about, younger women, not just women, but guys too, dyeing their hair gray? Because I still see that. So that's what I want to talk about today. And then the woman with the mustache and Giuliani comments. I'm going to read some articles from YouTube, from wherever I got it. I've got them linked, and I want to show those to you. But I think I've got a message here. Hold on. We haven't got started yet, so I want to read. Check this out. Yeah, hi. This is Bob. If you didn't know, I'm starting a live stream here just a few minutes ago. Slow down, slow down. What's that? Oh, yeah, we've heard from them before. You must not have seen that I was doing the live. What were they saying? We'll talk about it maybe after this. Oh yeah, it's real. Of course, it's real. Yeah, she says a lot of things. I was aware. Yeah, she's not big on age gaps, that's for sure. She doesn't even like Americans. Well, that would explain something there, don't you think? But let's get together, you and me and George. Said, what? Salad fork, wrong place? Look, I'm not a controller. Anybody watching my videos, they know I talk about not being in control of the Filipina. Don't wrongly assert your authority and try to control her. That's just, not something that you want to do. Yeah, it's important. So let's get together with George. Don't say anything to Devlin, not that we can, but he'll probably find out anyway. And let's tape a podcast maybe tonight or tomorrow, and probably put that up there on Love on Casting Beyond the Sea, which everybody here can find on lvbts.com, Casting Beyond the Sea. In fact, that very last link, the seventh link there, uh, is for how to access the podcast on Casting Beyond the Sea. So, yeah, let's do that tomorrow, okay, Chip? And thanks for letting me know. And we will. I got to get going, but we'll work on that maybe tonight or tomorrow. I'll get back to you. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Okay. So these links up there. First one is going to be, you can click on it. I had them in the promo. That way you can see what I'm referring to when I try to get my comments. And there's one there about the women with gray hair. There's some photos in the second one. And then the eye bags is the third one. And Rudy Giuliani's comments there. My website, lvbts.com, is the next to last one. And the last one there is where these podcasts can be heard. So I want to hear your thoughts tonight on are women, intentionally trying to not look attractive to guys. Here's from the first one. It's about silver ladies. Now this is 6 years old, but I still see women with gray hair. Here they kind of call it antique gray. A 26-year-old actress called Zozia Mehmet, and they say it would have raised more eyebrows had she not been the latest in a stream of young celebrities experimenting with gray. They mentioned Kylie Jenner, ripped her raven mane with gray, and both Orange is the New Black's Dasha Polanco and hair chameleon Rihanna have stepped out onto the red carpet with unicorn-like gray ponytails. Now, gray ponytails, that bothers me. I mean, I just think women's hair is one of the things that separates them from men and can look very beautiful and is very appealing to men. And I think they should try to use it to look good. They say here, gray hair's closest predecessor was platinum hair, which slowly morphed into a darker iteration. They say in the aughts, gray was sneered at as the province of British hipsters, but it still managed to make its way sporadically to the covers of high fashion magazines. And they talk about recently Nicole Richie, Lady Gaga pink, Kelly Osbourne followed suit. And here's what I think. I agree with this part. They say gray has classically been associated with monotony. The dictionary offers a dank picture of the emotions evoked by the color: cloudy, overcast, dull, sunless, gloomy, dreary, somber, bleak, and murky in terms of weather. Ashen, wan, pale, pasty, pallid, colorless, bloodless, white, and waxen for images related to age, and colorless, nondescript, insipid, jejune, unremarkable, flat, bland, dry, and stale for sub-definition of without interest or character. They say for all the color's blondness, it's seeing an unexpected rise in popularity among the millennial Instagram set. Now, this was about 6 years ago, but I still see it today. It says gray has found a resurgence as a shade that is both natural and supernatural, with Pinterest pages celebrating the rainbow of women grinning in gray as hot. Sometimes the color is referred to as silver, along with Arctic or icy, for understandable reasons. Gray connotes dull, elderly, and boring, but silver is magical, sophisticated, and chic. Grandmas have gray hair. Starlets have silver hair. And then they go on to talk about, this woman says here, 34-year-old brunette, says it's gives her an avant-garde sort of thing, a classic sort of feel. I talk about how to take care of it. I just don't like it because, I mean, it's going to be gray, of course, eventually. Can't help that. But why would you want to look older? I mean, it's kind of shocking to go, let's say, walk behind somebody in a store or wherever, and you think they're an old lady, and then you see them from front, and they're in their 20s or something like that. I just say, okay, what in the world? It's hard enough when you're young to try to find somebody to go out with, and it's bad enough with all the tattoos. One of these days, I'll do a video about all the tattoos that women are wearing and how I feel they should dress, adorn themselves. But gray hair certainly doesn't make a good impression for me. I don't know how younger guys feel. Now, here's an interesting comment from this article. It says here, it can be tempting to declare it, coloring your hair gray, as a feminist commentary. Men are considered distinguished and sophisticated with flecks of gray or a shield of silver. George Clooney, Anderson Cooper, John Slattery stand atop a pedestal of graying beautifully, aging into the dashing gentleman. The silver fox is the comment they make. But women cannot attain silver foxdom, vixendom, in quite the same way. Sure, every once in a while they read about Helen Mirren's stunning style and singular stripes of charcoal, like Indira Gandhi's or 101 Dalmatians' Cruella de Vil, often evoke power, or even a corresponding streak of evil. But there's no dominant hot stereotype for the female gray-haired woman, despite a minor pro-age movement to embrace one's natural beauty past middle age. They say, see 60-year-old model Cindy Joseph. I just do not understand this concept here. They say the influence of visual culture aside, going gray must just be another contrarian thing to do, a fashion statement. The unconventional dye job is just another path to be different in a way that doesn't involve the permanence of tattoos and piercings. Think of the way pixie cuts have also challenged gender norms, they say. But being young and gray offers an unexpected juxtaposition, a way to be both fresh and jaded. When asked why she dyed her hair, this person interviewed said she was just bored. What better completely traditional color to signal the fatigue of youth than gray? What's this fatigue of youth? Youth don't get tired. I just don't understand it. Why would you want to look old and like all those other descriptive terms? I mean, I've got some pictures on that second link here. If you scroll down, mostly it's just what that gray hair looks like. You can decide if you think it looks attractive or not. I think it would look, it just looks bizarre when you got a woman in her 20s that should be trying to appeal to a man, I would think. And then she's got her hair gray. This little comment from the top of that second link: young women around the world have gotten fed up with how good older silver vixens can sometimes look with their gray hair and have started dyeing their hair gray as well, whether it's an act of jealous appropriation or a tacit nod to the older ladies that know how to rock their silver locks. The gray hair trend is a way of turning heads. Whether you're old or young, we want to see your gray hair photos, and that's what they did there. They showed these gray hair photos. So I just think it's a real silly thing. Go around and see what's supposed to be a young, beautiful woman with gray hair. I mean, what's next? Are they going to start putting crow's feet on their eyes? Are they going to start putting wrinkles on their face to look older? This third link, 1, 2, 3, talks about fake eyebrows And the picture there, they've got a 19-year-old, and she's showing how to put these fake eye bags, not eyebrows, eye bags. And it says here, I gotta scroll all the way to the top again. Crazy. Mad new beauty trend is to give yourself eye bags, but people joke they already have them and don't need to fake it. Well, just like the gray hair thing, why are women in a hurry to make themselves look, you know, old and haggard? It says young makeup fans have stirred quite the stir with a bizarre new beauty trend which has them enhance or sometimes create dark under eye bags. The aim is to normalize tired eyes as a result of the bad sleep schedules millennials have. But many joke they already have bags naturally and don't need to fake it. I would say so. And in an interview with the New York Times, this teen, she's 19, says dark circles can be beautiful, and added her generation are all tired and have bad sleeping schedules anyway. Maybe that's something to change instead of trying to make yourself look older. Very, very strange trend. Here's another person jumped on the trend, sharing her own tutorial on TikTok and Instagram, saying in 2021 she was going to be accepting all my insecurities. Captioning the video, she wrote, in 2021, I'm accepting all my insecurities, maybe even highlighting them and wearing them with confidence. And then there's comments here. Of course, people just talking about, these are going to happen anyway. They already have them, so they're tickled that it's in style now, and they've already got these eye bags, so they don't have to do anything. I don't know. It just seems to be bizarre. And this woman here has I don't know what color hair she's got. It's hard to describe. It's a combination of pink and red, and now she's putting on these eye bags, I guess, to look tired or something like that. Very, very strange. Huh. Anyway, I just don't understand this, because people today are saying it's so hard to find a good woman. They don't make good choices. They've got tattoos all over, and now, but they're still gray, dyeing their hair gray. I've seen young men do it too, for whatever reason. And now eye bags, are they trying intentionally to look unappealing to men? Very, very strange. I'd like to know what your comments are about this. We're not going to be talking about the foreigner in Filipina today, unless it turns out that's all anybody wants to talk about. But I'm trying something different here that relates to relationships, because I know how hard it is to find somebody. I was alone for 30 years. Didn't know what I was doing wrong. Was I dressing wrong? Some people said, you got to get a new car, you're never going to find somebody. You got to get a new job, or you're never going to find somebody. Never mind, I was working at the same place at the time for 20 years, ended up being 40 years. And what else? So you had to change your hair, you had to change your shoes, you had to change your clothes, you had to go to college, you had to do all these things in order to find a woman, just for dating. Since I wanted to get married, I had to go overseas, go where you're wanted, and that's what I did, 9,800 miles away. And I got married to my Filipino wife in the Philippines. I didn't really have to change that much, I didn't think. And we got married very, very quickly, much quicker than normal. And we're just trying to get to know each other still. And we still are. Lord willing, this will be 6 years marriage in April. And we're still learning how we react in certain situations that you just can't do. You can't go through in a long distance relationship like this. And I think some men are afraid or made timid by such a long distance relationship because in their mind they want to know everything about the other person. And that may never be the case even after 20 years of marriage. But one thing I did not have to deal with when I was still single, especially in my 20s and 30s, I appreciate the thumbs up. One thing I did not have to deal with was good looking young women dyeing their hair gray. Hair can be very attractive on a woman. It should be. In fact, shaving it all off is bizarre and very unattractive, I would think, to most any men. Uh, Parabiology 101, thank you for joining me this Friday night. How can it be the end of the work week? Work week just got started. It just got started. That means I got to start getting laundry ready for tomorrow. And I feel like I do laundry 7 days a week. And it's only one day a week. But parabiology, I'm talking about this trend of gray hair, which still exists. Young girls, you know, you go to the grocery store and you look at a woman and it's like, wow, I bet she's hot or something. Just the body looks really hot, but then you're confused because she's got gray hair, and then you find out later, well, she looks like she's 20 years old. What is she doing with gray hair? That's just bizarre. And I know it was a fad about 6 years ago, but it's more than a fad because women still do it. And I wish they wouldn't for the sake of these young men. I would personally not want to go out with somebody that thinks it's a good idea to dye her hair gray. I know women color their hair all kinds of colors, and that doesn't necessarily bother me if she's got uh, pink hair or blue hair or green hair. Honestly, it wouldn't really bother me that much. But gray hair, for some reason, that would bother me. In fact, like I said or alluded to earlier, tattoos, a lot of tattoos bothers me. It makes me ask myself, well, why would they do that? And if I was a young man, and it's hard enough already to find somebody that's wanting to get married and it's not materialistic and becoming feminist, and now they're dyeing their hair gray. Do they just want to be unappealing to men? Because that's kind of the impression I get as an older guy. I mean, the hair is going to get gray, and then they'll probably want to color it. Some of these articles I saw, women were saying they spent like, $10,000-$15,000 a year on their hair coloring. I probably spend $150 a year, probably not even that much, probably $90 a year. And I don't know, because I do color mine, but I'm not going to color it, gray or white or orange or something like that. Yeah, you could be right. Parabiology 101, tattoos, dyed hair are a likely sign of high sexual partner count. Also the tattoos. I see that now. They've tried to rejoin the gym and go back. I see more women now with tattoos. There's just more women in there now than I ever saw before. I had to. It took like 3 years off, and now there's a lot more women I've ever seen before. And yeah, a lot of them, have tattoos, and I've noticed the ones with the tattoos tend to do certain kinds of exercises that the women without the tattoos don't do. The women with the tattoos, I've noticed in general, tend to do the more masculine exercises like They might do a bench press. They might do a squat. Um, might do a deadlift, something that you would think a man would be doing. Um, and when my neck and my back and my shoulder, I'm not doing any of those. It's been a long time since I've been able to do that. But the ones without the tattoos, I guess to me, they do the more feminine things in the gym, like the treadmill, anything, with cardiac. Um, but anyway, that's just something I've seen, and I don't know. I mean, a young guy has to think about that. They have to look at these things and say, well, I wasn't expecting tattoos. What do I make of that? What does that tell me? I wasn't, she's cute, but she's got blue hair. Don't know if it's a wig. Don't know if it's real. I mean, colored. But what is that? What does that mean? I mean, does that mean they're high maintenance? Does that mean they have a high partner count? Um, or they have really, really short hair. And hair is a turn on. I like my wife's a Filipina, and when I married her back in 2015, she had long, beautiful black hair, like I'm looking at now in these pictures here in the studios of Love Beyond the Sea. And I like that. Now, when she cuts her hair short, it still looks cute. In fact, I think it makes her look younger because with the style that she has. And of course, I'm all for that. But I saw the gray hair one day, and then I saw it again, and I saw an article, and I thought, okay, let's just do a live stream on this. Maybe you guys will tell me what you think about why an attractive young woman would apparently try to make herself look unattractive. Is she just trying to look good for other women? And if so, why? Gray hair, I don't think looks good. It's going to get gray eventually. And some people may say, well, it's just natural. I'll just let it be. I mean, I remember the first time in my life, I was probably in my 30s, and a guy who was probably in his 30s at church introduced me to his wife, and she had gray hair. And honestly, if he wouldn't have said, "This is my wife," I would have thought she was, like 60. Um, she just kind of reminded me of Granny in the Beverly Hillbillies. That's why I started this title Granny Hair, because you know intentionally dyeing your hair gray just seems really strange to me. Some say, well, that's just normal, so I'm going to accept it. Now, this next thing I want to talk about is along those lines. If it's normal, so I'm just not going to do anything about it. And this is the link there, the fourth one down, that says refusing to shave. And it says, woman refuses to shave mustache or unibrow, even though men yell insult at her, as it helps her weed out bad dates. She says, a brave woman, and it shows her there in that link, a brave woman refuses to shave off her mustache or massive unibrow, even though men stare at it like it's a, quote, somebody's quote, third head, and yell insults at her in the street. And now, as I spill my coffee, it says, you know what this means. Tutor Eldina Jaganjic, 31, from Copenhagen, Denmark, said her bold approach helps her weed out potential love interests. And there's a picture of her with her eyebrows growing together and clear, visible mustache there. It says she proudly doesn't shave her mustache area or eyebrows despite getting insults. She grew up in a small city where everyone was expected to fit in and look similar. As she got older, she grew frustrated by the fact that women are expected to spend more time and money on maintaining their looks through hair removal than men are. Well, We are different, you know. In March 2020, Eldina decided to stop plucking the hairs in between her eyebrows and removing the hair on her upper lip, realizing she only felt less feminine when they were fuller because of societal expectations. Now, those societal expectations, they are real. They do carry some weight, I think. Eldina doesn't care what she looks like. That's not good. Or what other people think of her anymore, but admits men have shouted, "Pluck that," at her in the street. And she notices men staring at her eyebrows like she has a third head. Well, men tend to be a little bit more matter of fact in these matters rather than complimentary. She says she feels more confident than ever because she isn't afraid to stand out from the crowd. And it shows a picture of her. Looks completely different. Of course, her hair color is different, but other than that, they don't look like the same person. Says when it comes to dating, Eldina believes that her unibrow and facial hair is a blessing, as it means she gets to weed out any, quote, conservative potential suitors who are put off by her look, by her look straight away. She said, before I let my unibrow grow out, I did feel like there were extremely limited options to how women were supposed to look. If a man doesn't shave and doesn't plug his eyebrows, no one notices or comments, and it's nothing out of the ordinary, she says. Just like many other women, I have learned to police myself. For instance, I used to not feel comfortable going outside unless my eyebrows were the accepted small size, and I wouldn't go to the gym unless my legs were clean shaven. Now, I've chosen to focus on the tasks and goals that I need to have done and less on how I appear while doing them, and whether people like me or not, because I probably won't ever see them again. And if I do, I still don't care. When she put down the tweezers, she said that some of her friends said they approved of her new look, probably female friends, and some didn't even notice at all. She added, I've had people come up to me in the street telling me it was cool, and a few yelling at me. That was uncomfortable at first, but if some people have nothing to do other than yell at strangers, then so be it. Yes, I've had a few teenage boys yell at me in the streets, but nothing big. I think it's hard to understand gender roles when you are a teenager and you are growing up, she says. I used to be a teenager back in the late 70s, and I never felt that it was hard to understand gender roles. She says, I think it's hard to understand gender roles when you're a teenager and you're growing up. So I think seeing a woman doing something that is considered less feminine confuses these teenagers, and they let it out on me because they start to question their own norms and understanding of what it means to be a man. Now, that's her opinion and not one I agree with. She says, I have noticed a few grown men stare at my unshaven legs and my eyebrows like I had a third head. Well, maybe there's a reason for that. She says she feels more confident than ever because she isn't afraid to stand out from the crowd, but stressed that people should only choose to go au naturel or au naturel if they are comfortable doing so. She urged, do what is comfortable for you, and the right friends will stick around. By deeming some women less feminine because of body hair, society excludes several geographical areas in the world from femininity. This is her. In many areas of the world, women do have more visible and darker hair, and they are then forced or nudged to change their appearance more than women in, for example, and it doesn't say where, so the quote is kind of strange. She says to be accepted into this, we must spend more time and money just to be able to visually exist in an acceptable way. And yes, I do think that this is not fair. I think we have to ask the question, why do we as a society deem it so important that women remove hairs from their bodies? And I think this should be so irrelevant as there are so many other and more important things to focus on, she says. Um, I mean, I don't know. I think it's just basic. I don't know if it's hygiene would be the right word, but since when would a woman allow her eyebrows to grow together? Since when would she want to just let her hair grow above her lip? Um, why would a woman just say it's cool? Hey, it's great to let your hair get stubbly. And I know one of the things I first noticed about my wife was how soft she was, how soft she is. And that includes her legs. I mean, I fall asleep at night holding on to her legs, and just she's so soft and warm. And she shaves her legs. I've probably shaved them myself, you know, at times. I mean, she buys all this hair removal stuff. The other day, I I had something that I had to wear goggles because it makes a light, and you hold it over there over the leg, and you click it or something, and it flashes. And then I did that over her legs. I guess it's supposed to help hair from growing back. But I've taken my wife to the mall where she had somebody, they call it threading, literally. I think they just take a piece of thread and you have to know how to do it, but they can really get under that facial hair. And, but she takes good care of her skin. Her skin is, and one of the reasons she looks so young for 32 is she takes care of her skin. She doesn't like to go out in the sun, never has, for whatever reason. I don't know. She just didn't like getting dark or just never had time. But when the weather starts to really get nice, I'm going to be a lot darker than she will be. But she takes care of her skin. Excuse me. My sister could probably grow a mustache if she had to before she died, because I think some women, it's just a hormonal thing. They just have more facial hair in certain places, and all you have to do is shave it off. They even now have ways for women to permanently um, um, get rid of it so it doesn't come back. And I'm all for that. I don't know why a woman would just want to kind of let it go. Parabiology says that girl isn't likely to find a male partner who is willing to commit. They might be willing to have sex with her, but not likely to commit, and maybe even have sex with her because she would be, I don't know, like a novelty. I had sex with a woman with a mustache, or I had sex with a woman who didn't, had a unibrow, or weird stuff like that. Um, and if you're looking at the same picture there, she looks quite normal in the other picture. And then on the upper picture, she dyed her hair dark and then let her, mustache and thanks for the thumbs up, let her mustache and the unibrow go. And but sometimes I see things like this, and I know the marriage rate is going down, as in fewer people are getting married than they used to, and if they do get married, they get married later than they used to. And seeing trends of dyeing your hair gray and being careless with shaving makes me wonder if women aren't trying to be unattractive, kind of like the woman who for whatever reason, allows herself to gain a lot of weight and eats poorly so she can say, well, you know, nobody wants me because I'm too big. But maybe there's something else going on and she's just trying to cover up or make an excuse. Maybe, I don't know, they're just saying, well, nobody likes me. You know, they don't like my gray hair, tough, or they don't like my mustache. Well, that's too bad. I guess I can't find anybody. And I don't know. I think it's almost like testing a man. Well, I'm going to grow a mustache. And if he is turned off by that, if he doesn't like that, well, that just kind of shows you what kind of person he is. Not for me. Well, that's just not common sense. Yeah, Paris says sleazy men would look at her as an easy mark for sex, but none would commit. Well, why not just try to make yourself as appealing to the opposite sex as possible? You're a woman. And when you're young, you can wear modest clothes, and everybody is going to know that you're young and attractive and appealing, and don't have weird stuff going on like a bunch of tattoos or gray hair or eye bags, and you're not going to look high maintenance or just like you're kind of mercurial and change your mind and change your hair color and stuff like that. And that's just simple and appealing. But sometimes I think with some of these fashion trends, it kind of gives the guy the impression, you know, I don't want that. Now, I want to share this final article about the Michelle Wie and Rudy Giuliani situation because it's somewhat the reverse of this. It's called, this was from February 20, 2021, so not that long ago. It says Michelle Wie West, she's a golfer, professional, condemns objectifying comments by Rudy Giuliani. And Rudy Giuliani, is, from memory, is like 76-year-old former mayor of New York, one of Donald Trump's attorneys. But it says here, Michelle Wie West, and I'm not really familiar with her because I don't watch women's golf. Michelle Wie West had strong words for Rudy Giuliani via Twitter after the former New York City mayor and attorney for former President Donald Trump discussed having joked with radio talk show host Rush Limbaugh several years ago, being unable to see the golfers, as I delete this thing here, Rudy Giuliani, being able to see the golfer's underwear when she was putting during a golf outing. Terrible thing, right? Appearing on Steve Bannon's War Room podcast Thursday and reminiscing about Limbaugh, who died that day, Giuliani asked if he could tell a story which involved a round of golf with Limbaugh and Wie West. Giuliani said that Limbaugh complained about all the paparazzi trailing the group, then blamed Giuliani for their presence. Giuliani, chuckling, said the cameramen were there to photograph Wie West, not them. Quote, on the green is Michelle Wie, and she is getting ready to putt, Giuliani said, in part. Now Michelle Wie is gorgeous. This is still a quote. She's 6 feet, and she has a strange putting stance. She bends all the way over, and her panties show, and the press was going crazy. I said, Rush, it's not me. It's not you. Giuliani concluded his story by asking, is it okay to tell that joke? I don't know if it's a joke. I mean, Wie West took to Twitter on Friday night, not noting Giuliani by name, and said, what this person, Giuliani, should have remembered from that day was the fact that I shot 64 and beat every male golfer in the field, leading our team to victory, she wrote. I shudder thinking he was smiling to my face and complimenting my game while objectifying me and referencing my panties behind my back all day. Wie West went on to express frustration over elite level pro golfers being discussed in terms of their appearance instead of their game. The outing apparently took place in 2014, the same year Wie West won the U.S. Women's Open at Pinehurst using a putting stance meant to improve her stats. Quote, not as an invitation to look up my skirt, unquote, Wie West wrote on Twitter on Friday. When Giuliani ended the story by asking if it was okay to tell that joke, Bannon awkwardly replied, we already told it, so I don't know. Wie West, 31, has won 5 times on the LPGA Tour, but has been plagued by injuries in recent years. She has done some television commentary, is currently on hiatus from the game after the birth of her daughter in June. On Saturday night, the LPGA issued a statement in support of Wie West on social media. It says, she's a 5-time LPGA Tour winner, major champion, LPGA board member elected by her peers, Stanford graduate, working mother. We stand with at Michelle Wie West. And this looks like a Michelle Wie tweet. Not sure it's on Twitter or something else, but it says, what should be discussed is the elite skill level that women play at, not what we wear or look like. My putting stance 6 years ago was designed to improve my putting stats. I ended up winning the U.S. Open that year, not as an invitation to look up my skirts. Nike makes skirts with shorts built in underneath for this exact reason, so that women can feel confident and comfortable playing a game that we love. Now, there is no picture of what she looked like there. And so now here we have a case where, I mean, she's not necessarily trying to look attractive or appeal to men, but no doubt anybody there from, 18 to Rudy Giuliani's age was going to notice that. And I have a hard time believing Michelle Wie West didn't notice that either, especially since it probably wasn't the first time she wore that combination and was out there, golfing. So I think what, Giuliani saw and said was no big deal. I think however many people were there were probably thinking the exact same thing. And if Michelle Wie West does not want to be objectified, then she should probably be more discreet with what she wears on the golf course, especially if she is bending over to putt. So guys make comments when they see certain things and it's just kind of obvious, and you can expect them to make those comments, and yet they are rude and objectifying. And then on the other hand, you've got women apparently trying to make themselves look unattractive by dyeing their hair gray and painting on fake eye bags to make themselves look older and worn out, I guess, and or not shaving their legs or their face or their eyebrows. One of the first things I noticed about my wife from her pictures was her eyebrows. I thought they were really attractive, and I'd never really noticed anybody's eyebrows before. But there's a big difference. Do I have a hole in this thing? I don't think so. Big difference between, it just look natural. Just look like the woman you are. Try to be appealing to a man. Don't do strange, bizarre things with your looks, and you're probably more likely to get the kind of guy that deep down inside you'd like to get. Yeah, Parabiology says, I'm sure there were plenty of other things she could have worn if she wanted to avoid attention. Well, I can't believe somebody wouldn't have said something long before that. Hey, did you know anybody can see your panties? Or that she didn't check it out herself. I think just, it's like I said before, I've been starting to go to the gym again, and the women at the gym Mostly it's young women. Mostly, almost all the women there are look like they're, I don't know, 20 to 30 years old, and they're dressed to kill out there. They really are. Um, they, I think, and I'm not necessarily saying they're doing anything wrong, but they look very good. They look very feminine because of the things they're wearing. Um, some of them, in some ways, probably reveal more than they should, and that's going to attract attention. Guys are going to stare, and I think maybe some of those women actually want that. Maybe they just get a kick out of an older guy, you know, looking at them. Some of the guys try to strike up conversations with them. Um, but I mean, you have to use common sense here, uh, which is the name of Rudy's YouTube channel. Um, Common sense. If you're going to dress a certain way, you're going to elicit comments from visually stimulated men. And I just, I mean, I don't know. I just think we're so thin-skinned anymore. You can't say anything without somebody wanting to be feeling like they're offended. And I think sometimes it's like women go out of their way to kind of draw in an offensive comment. And it's just silly. It's one of many things where I think guys just throw up their hands and say, I give up. Where are all the sane women? Women that just want to be feminine. Parabiology says seeking attention by virtue signaling against him. Yeah, I don't know what kind of signals they're all sending. There's different types of women there, and a lot of them, goodness gracious. I mean, they never wore things like this years ago when I was lifting. And I don't know where it all comes from, but it looks good. And and they are working out very hard. There are women that go to the gym and wear certain things and just don't get much done. But these women are out there working harder than the guys at what they're doing. Like I said before, the women with the tattoos are doing more of the masculine lifts, where the women without the tattoos uh, are doing more cardio and toning and the like. Um, but yeah, parabiology, they probably are signaling something. And I don't know, sometimes it's kind of a strange environment, one that I'm not used to from years ago when the gyms I went to were mostly guys. Um, and the women that did go tended to, well, they gave off the impression they wanted to be men. They were certainly as big as men and had muscles like men. I don't know if they were on steroids, but they were unusually muscular. And as a man, that's a turnoff. I think most of us probably want just a woman that, you know, dresses nice, takes care of herself, her hair, her face, her skin, her legs, a smile now and then, looking approachable would be nice too. And I'd always been attracted to Filipinas. That's why I married a woman from the Philippines in 2015. And she was very feminine to me because she was just natural. Nice eyes, hair, lips. Um, she takes care of herself. I even liked her eyebrows. I always tell her I was attracted to her eyebrows. But she takes care of her appearance, and guys like that. And she doesn't go to the gym or anything like that. She's not going to have any time. She's going to be starting business classes here probably in May, and her citizenship, she's going to be getting her citizenship. We just sent in the payment for that, and we're studying that right now, and probably 4 days a week or so. We'd like to be studying for that. I think she'll do okay. I don't know most of the answers to it myself. Never was big on history, but now I'm going to learn a lot from going over those tests with my wife. So if you want a feminine woman, the Philippines is a good place to go. And just the video today was, just about little things that make it harder for a guy to feel like he can find somebody, or what's going on in the mind of a woman that makes her hair gray and paints eye bags under her eyes, which makes you look older and more stressed out, and not shaving your mustache and stuff like that. Sometimes it's a hormonal thing, but that doesn't mean that it just can't be shaved. Yeah, parabiology will be done soon, and glad your Filipina woke up. Mine will be home from work in about 4 hours, and then we'll be calling it a day. So thanks for joining me. I wanted to do a different type of topic. Hopefully people will watch it later and have something to say. You never know who's going to chime in on which topic, but thank you for being here. I kind of thought there might be quite a bit more interest in this because it was different than usually I'm talking about relationships. And thank you for the 4 people here right now and the 2 thumbs up. Wanted to do something different. Phil's to Phoenix is here. Maayang Boontag, Bob and all. John, thanks for being here. Quiet night, John. I have these links up there. I've been seeing some women with young women, beautiful young women, should be anyway, with gray hair, and they color their hair still. And so I've got some links up there. This was a fad that started 5 or 6 years ago. I still see it today. I don't understand it. When I was 20 years old, I don't think I would have wanted to go out with a woman with intentionally made her hair gray. And then there's this new craze putting eye bags, getting I don't know what they use, but they paint on eye bags. Eye bags make you look like you're not getting enough sleep or you're stressed out, but it's not appealing generally, and it's usually, for people just burning it at both ends. They're very stressed out. Well, just because you can use some kind of makeup to make yourself look that way, why would you? Why would you color your hair gray? That's just what I was talking about. And then I had the link of the woman who was decided to just be natural and not shave her mustache and let her eyebrows grow together. And another puzzling thing, John, that I haven't seen that. I have seen women with, mustache or beard actually, and it's bizarre. And now some women have, there's medical issues for that. And I don't know if that was mentioned in the case of the article I posted, but if people are making comments, and men typically just shoot it straight, and they're saying, "Hey, that looks bad. Why don't you shave that?" That may be the very best advice that you get. Why don't you shave that? Well, she says she's going to grow her mustache and let her eyebrows grow together, and if you don't like it, too bad. Then you're not for her. You must not be a real man for her. I don't know. To me, that's kind of testing guys, and I think it's an unfair test. I think most guys would like it if the person they married shaved their legs. I know in some countries that may not be as commonplace as it is here, but I like my wife's legs to be smooth and soft, and she takes care of her hair. I mean, women have hair growing in different places, but there are ways to take care of all that. Let get rid of these notifications. John, thanks for joining in tonight. Yeah, I started at 6 o'clock. I started at 5 o'clock last time, and there was more people. And John, do you ever pay attention to the YouTube analytics, where it tells you what time your most of your viewers are online for a live stream and for a video? I used to not paying attention to that, and I've started to try to release videos on that day at that time that it suggests you do, and it really hasn't seemed to help any. Um, so I don't know, things are just kind of dry here for the moment. Um, I wish I was in the Philippines. My wife just today bought a neck thing that you use in the plane. We had some before, but they weren't real comfortable. So she found some other ones, and frankly, they are more comfortable. So it's good to see that she's got that trip on her mind in December, as long as we can go. I don't want to go and be quarantined for 7 days in Manila and then go to Davao and be quarantined in our home for 7 days. I mean, I might be willing to do that if I absolutely had to, because I really want my wife to be there and see the kids, see her friends, see her family. I want to go there again and see our beautiful coconut trees blowing in the wind out there, and in our jungle place. I like the sound of it. Those trees, the wind blowing the trees, and the barking dogs and roosters. I'm okay with that. And I just want to see my wife be around her family. I'm getting closer to her family. I've been there 4 times now. I'm really looking forward to the fifth. I'm even looking forward to all the hassles, I guess, of the flying. It's 4 trips there for us, 4 trips back. It can take 28, 30 hours to get there, and 28, 30 hours to come back if you don't have any troubles. That's all. That's long if you've never done it before. Yeah, I haven't worried too much about the analytics. John says, I didn't even know they had those. It's just a stat that shows when, I guess, most of your viewers are online. And so they suggest, this day a live stream at that time, or another day an upload at that time. And early on here, it was like every week it seems like it changes. Every week from Monday to Friday, it was 10 a.m., 7 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 7, 9, 8 a.m. Then the next week, it was 4 p.m., 9 a.m., 4 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 5 p.m., noon. And then it was 5 p.m., 7 p.m., 0900, 4 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m. Now it's kind of moved back an hour or two, and who knows what it'll be the next time. But we just try different things. If I get rid of this notification, I can see any comments. I'm just here hanging out after a 3-hour nap. Just exhausted today. Cebu just opened to tourists without quarantine. John, is that today? Is that today? I mean, I haven't. I just took a 3-hour nap because it's been wiped out, and then I got ready for this. But let me know if that just is hot off the press. Cebu just opening to tourists without quarantine. Well, John, I asked Isa how long it would take to fly from Davao to Cebu, and she said about half an hour. So if we ever can get everything lined up for that trip, and you're there, it would be nice to meet you in Cebu. I would like to see what Cebu is all about, what people are saying. And I've never been there. And let me see what your comment was here. Try to find a flight direct to Cebu, then go to Davao. That's an idea. I mean, John, you may know more about traveling there than I do. One of our goals is to start in Los Angeles. We have a friend that lives in the area, and we'd like to go visit him and his family, and go to Disneyland. There's a Disneyland there, and I don't think we'll be too terribly far from LAX. So right now they still don't have LAX to Manila like they did when I went and got married. It was a 14 and a half hour flight. So what they still do now, and what they've done for the last couple of years, is you don't go straight to Manila. Even if you're flying from LA, you go to Hong Kong, Japan, Taiwan, something like that, and then of course a layover. Probably have to go through some kind of immigration line. Then you have to wait, and then go to Manila. And so there's just a lot of that. I really would like to go straight from LA to Cebu, but they have changed the flight patterns still, and they just don't do that. So I would have to see, maybe it's possible, but I'm not sure, but I can check. Can you still go from LAX to Cebu? Then, on the other hand, we're hoping to possibly meet someone in Manila, but we still might be able to meet them in Davao. So as we get closer to that, we kind of have to try to figure out, okay, we got to talk tickets now and itinerary and things like that. And with Isa going to school, because she's a woman who likes to keep busy, she likes to learn things, she likes to push herself, and that's something that we had talked about doing before we even got married. And she has her reasons for wanting to do that, and I don't think that will interfere with the trip, because she would just have to do that semester online. Problem is, if you're back home, 9,800 miles away, it's gonna be pretty tough to study online. But she's gonna have to, and I'm probably gonna have to help make sure that she keeps her nose to the grindstone. But hopefully, the semester won't start until we're almost done. We'll see, and that's just something else to work around. And maybe we even change our dates that we've had set for a long time already. Yeah, I'll have to see that. If Cebu opened, John, then Davao, I should just check that when she gets home tonight, and we can talk about it, because no quarantine opens up a lot more opportunities for us to go do something. So Papa and Mama didn't need anything to come back to Cebu, just a temp check, and asked how you're feeling. That's the way I hope it is. When things open back up, Philippine Airlines, PAL, has a non-flight from LAX to Cebu. Well, that might be the thing to do. And then the good thing about that is I have to, of course, ask my wife if she wants to do that, but because we haven't talked about it. But then you're talking, like she said, half hour from home, and I'd get to meet. We'd get to meet you and Cindy, and I'd get to see Cebu and what there is out there that people talk about. I'd like to see parts of the Philippines, especially if we don't end up living there someday, and that's possible too. We've got a lot of options, which makes it difficult to make decisions. There are a few airlines that will fly into Cebu internationally. Okay, we really want to see someone in LA first, but I trust you. If we can go from LA to Cebu, you're still talking probably the same length of time. Actually, very long flight. But you save time not having to land somewhere else, get out all your bags, drag everything over through 3 or 4 or 5 lines, customs, and then find your gate and just sit there and wait. And then maybe there's a delay or two. So, yeah, it sounds bad, 14-hour flight. But then we would just fly to, we'd probably go from Omaha to LA, I assume, and then LA to Cebu, back to devout. That would be the very fastest way. So again, that's something to think about. We'll just try to squeeze in as much as we can because it is such a long, arduous trip. My wife doesn't even like to go back too terribly often because it's hard on her. Then she has to go back to work, and you know, if we go back every 2 years, that's pretty good. Appreciate the thumbs up. Appreciate people still here tonight. John says there's a lot to see and do here in just Cebu City area, Cebu province. Could keep you occupied for a couple of years touring around. Well, we won't be able to do that, but I would like to be able to say, make some videos and say, here we are, we're in Cebu. Corazon Learning Channel, hi there. New here, familiar face, but thank you for being here. Thank you for the thumbs up. And you're a female vlogger, right? I started this live stream talking about the habit of women dyeing their hair gray. Now, I haven't seen any Filipina, do that. And the Filipinas have this, I consider, beautiful, luscious, long, black, sometimes shiny hair that is so very appealing. I think that drives a lot of us Westerners crazy. Long, beautiful black hair. Now, sometimes my wife gets tired of the long hair and says it bothers her at work because they have to have their hair up. And so she, once in a while, she cuts it. It's long and beautiful now, and she may cut it soon, maybe for the trip to the Philippines if we can go later this year. And I understand it looks cute. The style she has looks cute on her, but she would never dye it gray. And Corazon Learning Channel, there are women here in the United States and probably other places in the world dyeing their hair gray. It was a big habit, not habit, what do you call it, a fad about 5 years ago. And that's why I got some links up there at the top in the description box. And I just, I don't know why a woman would want to change her beautiful natural hair color, whatever that is, and color it gray. And then there's another link there, probably the third one, where the new fad now is painting on eye bags, something that makes anyone look older, just like gray hair does. So why in the West women are interested in dyeing their hair gray? I think it confuses guys, young men, old men, especially young men, since they're the ones that would date these girls, these women. And to dye your hair gray, I don't understand. Putting eye bags on, I don't understand that. And yes, I'm aware that you're a Filipina. You like your black hair. I love the black hair on Filipinas. Thank you for those of you watching tonight. And so the topic here was about, why do some women in the West color their hair gray? Why do they put bags under their eyes? Because that's a sign of, it just looks like you're not sleeping, you're stressed out and things like that. And that doesn't really appeal to anybody. And just had a woman there. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just trying to say this is what's going on out there. And if you're a man in your 20s and 30s and women aren't shaving their legs, or they're growing a mustache, or they're letting their eyebrows grow together, and you're saying, well, if you don't like me with a mustache, then you're not the right kind of guy for me. Well, then you're probably going to have a hard time finding any guy, because it's just got kind of like a societal norm to, as a woman, to take care of yourself, keep your skin looking nice, and shave, remove unwanted facial hair. It can be removed permanently, and there's things you can do on your legs to keep them nice and soft that men appreciate. It's just I think, part of being feminine. And in the West, there's a lot of women that aren't trying to be feminine. I don't know if they're trying to turn off or be unappealing to men, but I notice it. I'm not 20, 30 years old anymore, but I look at what the young women are doing themselves, and not even talked about. I've talked about tattoos a little, but not all these piercings that they do. And I think the guys have got to be thinking, what happened to just a regular woman, you know? And well, that's what I was talking about today, because enough guys are frustrated with their odds of finding a woman in the West. And now things like gray hair and eye bags don't help, and growing a mustache doesn't help. And so it's one more reason to say, well, consider a woman in the Philippines, because they still value their appearance. They like, the good ones like to dress modestly. My wife buys clothes. Been here 5 years. She always looks for good, um, low prices, and I've never been disappointed with the quality that she buys. Sometimes she saves money. She buys her clothes in the children's section, because we must have big children here, because some of those clothes fit really good on Filipinas who are adults. And so you can buy clothes over there, and they look good, and they're probably save you some money if you can buy in the children's section. So Corazon Learning Channel, do you mind telling me what city you're in right now in the Philippines? We hope to be going back to Davao this December, hopefully. John was just saying that Cebu has lifted these restrictions they've had. Cindy did that too. I was saying a lot of stuff there. John, which did she do? Um, oh, children's clothes? I heard about that many years ago. Somebody said that. And they know somebody that they're so small they had to buy children's clothes. I thought, boy, that's strange. And the very first item of clothing I bought Isa was a shirt that I think I got in the children's section to send her. I'm here in Nebraska. Yeah, bought clothes in the kids section. And I told her I was going to put in the mail. I probably put a card in there, and I was going to get her a Nebraska t-shirt. So I went looking for Nebraska t-shirts. They're expensive. You buy those name brand shirts, even if they're really small, they can cost $30. And the cost, it didn't matter to me. I just wanted her to get a shirt, and I couldn't find one because they were just too big. So I went to the children's section, and I found a Nebraska shirt, and I looked at it, and I thought, well, this is just, it's going to be too small now. But oh well, it's the thought that counts. So I bought the shirt for her in the children's section, and I put it in the mail. And then she got the shirt, and I said, "Well, hon, does it fit?" She says, "What did she say? It's too small, hon," or something like that. Something like that. It's too small. Excuse me. No, she said, "It's too big, hon. It's too big." Even though it looked like it would be too small to me, she said it's too big. And I have many of her shirts that she used to wear in the Philippines are in our closet. Those are some of my sentimental favorites because she still has them here today. John says when she first arrived, the kids or young miss clothes fit much better. Yeah, and even shoes. Sometimes Isa had to get some shoes in the children's section. Guess they run bigger here. So Corazon, if you didn't catch that, I was just curious where you were in the Philippines. Like I said, I started here about 6 o'clock. I'm in no particular hurry. Not going anywhere out of the ordinary tomorrow. Isa will be here in about 3.5 hours, and we'll talk about the possibility of going to Cebu But there are other things we have worked out. We would have to work out too. But it's certainly possible. If that's what we have to do to get the one-way trip, we can work out this situation, this other situation. I think later, after we get there, to visit with some other people, just bring them to our place is what the plan would be, because I'd like to meet them. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to go to Manila unless we went to Manila on the way back. So it could be a whole lot of different places. We want to go to Singapore on the way back. So Los Angeles, visit a friend, um, Disneyland, and then the Philippines, could add Cebu, and then Singapore, and just try to see more of the world. And I hear Singapore is a neat place, so that's something we. It's been, by that time it'll have been 2 years. Seems like last week, but by late December, mid-December, it'll be about 2 years since we've been in the Philippines. And I know at that time my channel had the most views and watch minutes and subscriptions than it's ever had since or before, because of those 3 weeks, 21 days, maybe 19 that we spent in the Philippines. And everything went way up. I think people thought that we lived there because we were staying in our house for the first time, strolling around the neighborhood, getting out in the car, since Isa drives, and I'm happy to let her drive there in the Philippines. I think she knows what to expect. Her night vision is also better. She's a very, very good driver, and people thought we lived there. So yeah, the channel was doing extremely well, better than it ever has those 3 weeks. Then everything kind of came back down to earth. So a little bit different tonight. Anybody wants to shoot me a question, I would like to keep these live streams short, but the whole point is to interact. So if you want to say something, maybe you're a troll and you're just waiting for me to say something. I don't know. I don't care. I just, for those interested in learning something about pursuing a Filipina, a woman from the Philippines, and I did that when I hadn't even thought about doing it. It kind of happened real quick. Okay, what's the next thing to do? Go overseas? Well, okay, I guess if I have to get married. And then 3 weeks later, I'm married. Just like that, after 30 years of being alone. So a lot of my channels, or a lot of my videos and podcasts, are about the things I learned, the things I'm continuing to learn. Most of the time we've been together and known each other, we've been married. So, we've had to kind of accelerate that learning process. We didn't learn everything about each other and then say, okay, I'm willing to take a chance. I didn't consider myself taking a big chance. I considered myself wanting to do what I had to do to get along with her, to be a good leader, to have us get along as a team. Like everybody, we get on each other's nerves, and that's just the way it's going to be. That can happen with coworkers, but you can always leave them. You can't get away from your spouse. You're there together. You have to try to iron things out. Jonathan Cindy is starting to drive Sunshine here, and Sunshine is that little yellow truck, I think, right, John? Um, so not in the city. So getting used to driving in the provincial areas, which is a good idea. That's like here, driving in residential areas and massive school parking lots and places like that. And we did that too, and then drove around our neighborhood because, of course, if you're teaching your Filipino wife how to drive, she needs to learn how to operate the car, brake, turn, steer, use the windows, get used to checking. Oh, that usually comes later. Just where everything is, her speed, wipers, lights, the spray that comes up for the wipers, where everything is. And I mean, if you don't know where your wipers are and you get a big blast of water and you can't see, I mean, you can panic, and you better know how to get those going, especially if you have a real downpour. You got to know where that the frost is too. Yeah, little multicab, and um, and that's great for her. Cindy's a smart woman. I'm sure she's going to be okay, just fine driving. Isa didn't drive until she was 27, did not drive in the Philippines. So she learned here in the United States and Midwest, where it's a lot easier to learn than in a busy place in the Philippines, unless, like you're saying, John, you go somewhere in the provincial area where it's safer, less traffic. You learn how to get control, and you'd learn the same way on a scooter too, I would think, where you can make some mistakes and it's not going to cost anything. And then you go out into um, something with more traffic, but no, not necessarily the interstate or the highway, and get used to watching cars as they pass and how close they are, and braking at different speeds, driving in the rain, driving at dark, driving with sun in your eyes. There is so many things to learn about driving. And I'm sure you're going to do very well to teach Cindy that. And that's good. That's just good. I don't know if I'll ever drive in the Philippines. I probably will. That would make a nice video. Me driving in the Philippines, um, somewhere safe, because I didn't drive the last time we were there. Isa did all the driving, and we rented a big was about 15 or 18 seat van to take a 9 hour trip to Surigao, 9 hours there, 9 hours back. So we let somebody else deal with that in all the bumpy roads. And but I'm glad she's doing that. I'm sure you'll be a good teacher. Make sure she's safe while she's learning that. She got her license just before we left the U.S. She has a valid Arizona driver's license with little experience driving in Phoenix. So um, tell me, John, does Cindy need to get a Philippine driver's license, or is the U.S. driver's license um, considered, good enough to drive there? I enjoy driving here, just more aware of things. It was a little learning adjustment, but overall very fun. Yeah, it probably would be okay with me too. I mean, I just I just don't know that some of the Filipino drivers are as cognizant of the rules. At least Isa has complained about that in Davao. You know, might honk the horn and say, you know, I'd be upset if people go through a red light, or they don't signal before turning, or they turn where they shouldn't turn. And when you get used to really structured driving, like here in the United States, it kind of affects your reflexes. And then when things out of the ordinary happen that you're not expecting, because you don't see that here, well, that can cause accidents. We have a little circle just half a block from here, and I like to go that way. Um, when I go out, I don't have to, but I just like just going around that circle. And you're supposed to go to the right, and so many times somebody will be behind me, and I'll go to the right, and sure enough, they go to the left, and they don't realize you're supposed to go around, but they'll take the easy way and go to the left. And if I was assuming that they would be following the rules, and I went around there and I wasn't looking for that person, we might collide. Then when they go up the road, they don't stop before turning left or right, and you're supposed to stop. So if you're a pedestrian, be careful. I mean, so many accidents would never happen if people simply followed the rules. So Isa now knows about the rules. And so when somebody doesn't follow the rules, she's able to be a little bit more aware, and that keeps her safe. But I'd like to drive somewhere in the Philippines just to say I did. Yes, we need to get a Philippine license soon. Okay, we should have gotten one after 60 days. So a foreigner or an American can go to the Philippines and say, I've got a license here from America. I got to get mine renewed before I even go, which is something I still have to put on my calendar so I don't drive on an expired license. But I'll have to have a new one before we even leave. Um, so you still have to have a Philippines license then. Well, I guess Isa won't need one if she's not until she's going to live there permanently. And I can't believe she wouldn't reside in the Philippines permanently one day. But who knows? That's that's just not been decided, and ultimately is up to her, because we are 27 years older or apart, and she may not. She may want to stay here. I don't know. I don't know why she would. But that's going to be her choice because I'm not going to be around. I'd like to be in the Philippines if I could, but medically, that's going to be a big factor. Yes, we need to get a Philippines license soon, licenses. So each of you would then have an American and Philippines driver's license. We also have a Rusi Classic 250 motorcycle that I enjoy driving around the city. I won't let her ride with me. Yeah, but in the provinces, we love the bike. Oh, I don't think I'm going to get on one of those because I have had no experience. I haven't had experience on a regular bicycle for a long time. I just do not want to get injured with everything going on right now. So I guess I'll just have to be in a car. I feel safer in a car anyway. So, John, thanks for letting me know about Cebu opening up. That's brand new. Um, I often get new news from Rike's channel or from his MeWe chat, because a lot of people there are itching to get over. And, he's probably one of the first people to get information on that sort of thing. And so it's only late February. We just need to know before we get tickets that everything's going to be fine before we start making hard and fast plans, especially involving other people. So that's a good sign. I'll look more into that. Thank you, John. Thank you, Parabiology 101. Thank you, Corazon Learning Channel, for dropping in tonight. I appreciate that. Just different topic matter tonight. Thanks for the thumbs up. The next live stream, I believe, will be about the question, did I marry my wife too fast? 54 days, 9,800 miles. Did I get married too fast? We'll look into that in the next live stream. John says, get a scooter that's automatic. Yes, and practice in neighborhoods, get comfortable. You might find you enjoy them. Oh, yeah. If I'm there permanently, John, but then I'll be even older and maybe less likely. I mean, if I'm going to be 65 or 6 or 7, I might just, if it was today and I felt like I could do it safely, I don't know. I get on the scooters when Isa's, family drives me around, and I feel totally confident. We've never had any close calls. I mean, they know how to drive those things. And then, you've got the sidecar. If you're in the sidecar, well, there's, that gives you added weight too. But there's still skill in driving those things. So sometimes they got to get through some very narrow areas to navigate people getting around. So it's all part of the fun and the charm of being in the beautiful Philippines. And I hope we're there, and maybe John will be able to meet you guys up there. We'll have to see. First, got to get everything open, and then try to go over to the Philippines here, which would be the 5th time in about 6 years, right? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Fifth time in 7 years, I guess. Man, time is going by fast. So thank you everybody for checking in tonight. Watch the early part of the video if you haven't, and subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. It's just talking about, you know, trends in women's fashion that I think are not really fashionable, and don't do these women any favors, or the young men out there who are looking for wives who are visually attracted, and now women are, you know, doing things that aren't very attractive to their appearance. I just don't think it's a good idea. So that's going to be it for this live stream. We'll keep putting videos up, and a live stream probably in, probably 2 weeks, unless for some reason I try one next Friday. It might be 2 weeks. Otherwise, we'll just keep working on videos. So this is it for tonight. This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Thank you very much for stopping by this evening.